welcome back to another video. My name is Janet and I run a depop and website called Primarie Studios where I sell secondhand and vintage fashion. Today I am doing a 3-month update on how my shop has been going since I went full-time. If you didn't know, I started working on Primarie Studios back last year in June. I started technically on June 20th. I was working full-time at my job and I also worked in Primarie Studios on the side. I took it pretty casually, probably listed about like 20 items a month, maybe less, maybe more, depending on the month. And I really enjoyed running my business. And so I thought, why not take this full-time? Right now I live at home and so I don't have much overhead. And I thought this is the perfect time for me to really focus on and work my business. And so that's what I did. In April, I stopped my full-time and I started working on this. Let's get into it. I'm going to go over 5 different aspects. First, things that I did right. Then I'm going to talk about things I did wrong. Next, I'm going to talk about things I wish I knew before I started my business. Fourth, I'm going to talk about just the numbers, how much money I made, and also my plans for the future from here on out. Now let's talk about what I did right. So one of the main things that I was trying to focus on is creating a niche for my business. So I wanted to focus on people who are probably in like their 20s to 30s, casual vintage wear, denim, leather jackets, stuff like that. Something that you can integrate very easily into your everyday wardrobe. And I also wanted to have a price range between $20 to maybe like $60. $20 would be like a t-shirt and $60 would be like a jacket or maybe a more special item. And I think that niche has worked out very well for me. I think it helps that I am kind of in that niche. I kind of have the same perspective as my demographic, which I definitely think helps. Next thing that I want to talk about is raising prices. So I did raise prices a little bit. I would say maybe like 10% or so. Originally, I didn't want to price my items too high because I was worried about, the perception of resellers. Everyone I've told in my personal life about my job think it's really cool. They're excited about it. It's only people online who are very vocal about their dislike for resellers. Because of that, I did not want to raise prices, but I eventually realized that, I am providing a service to people. I wash my garments. I take a lot of time to source a specific style, so I'm curating as well. I have to pack and ship those items, I have to list those items, I have to take photos, I have to edit them, I have to write descriptions. So that's a lot of things that I'm doing so that I can get good vintage pieces into the hands of the people who want them. Before I raised prices, I was probably pricing things within like the $25 to $30 range. And now I'm trying to go within the $30 to $40 range. It's been working out. People are still buying and I'm still getting just as many sales as I did before. And so that means that I am still at a good price point. Another thing I've done right is focusing on content curation. I'm trying to build on my Instagram. That is still kind of a work in progress. I'm not really sure like what type of content people want to see on there. But I do think starting this YouTube channel has been a good avenue for me to just talk about my business, share what I've been learning. I'm not sure if any of the people who watch my videos actually end up buying from me, but I do think it helps kind of create trust. Whether or not this leads to sales, I think this is just a good way for me to market my business, to get my name out there, and for people to see, what I'm all about. So another thing that I've done correctly was switching to hanger photos. This just really depends on just like how you want to approach your shop. But I think for me, I'm trying to make my process as efficient as possible. That way I can focus on more things than just like taking photos and listing. If I want to get paid $20 an hour in a sense, then I have to make sure that the amount of work I'm putting into finding and shooting and listing that garment is less than an hour or an hour or less. Going to a process where it's much faster to take good photos has helped me make that time put into each individual garment a lot less. One thing that I am kind of losing from not modeling my items is the styling aspect, but I think I can just, instead of focusing on making sure that every single garment has like a styled photo, I can just save that for Instagram and show inspo to people on how to style things. And the next thing that I think I did correctly is focusing on customer service, and this is through a variety of ways. One of the main things is just being responsive to messages, and that usually leaves me with a good review on Depop, which I think is very helpful. I respond to like 95% of offers, even if they are very low. To them, they think this item is worth $25, or they just want to see if they can get a good deal. And so I'll just counter with what I think is appropriate for that situation. A lot of times they end up accepting, and that means I get the sale and I get a quicker sale, which is nice. I mean, I can leave it on my shop for longer, but I'd rather have that out my door and so I can process a new inventory rather than like holding on to that item. Try not to take offers too personally. Consider their mindset and knowing that they're not trying to lowball you, they just want a good deal. I try to ship within 24 hours. It usually be 1 to 2 business days that I'll ship out an item, and I have received a lot of reviews saying that they received their item really quickly and they're very happy that I ship quickly, and I think that definitely creates a positive image between you and the customer. So those are all the things that I think I did right for my business. Now let's move on to things that I should improve on. The biggest thing that I did wrong with my shop was not focusing on like the aesthetic curation. I do have a very specific aesthetic that I like when I'm sourcing garments, but sometimes when I feel like I'm not finding enough items, or I find an item that's cute and really cheap, even though it's not my aesthetic, I'll still buy that just because I'm thinking, oh, well, I can still make money off of it, so why not just purchase it? But I do think it kind of dilutes the image of my shop, and it's not helping me create a strong customer base. For me, when I'm looking for a shop on Depop that I want to buy something from, I will search an item, I'll click on it, I'll click on the user, and if I like the general aesthetic of their shop, I'll follow them. I'm more likely to be a long-term customer when the whole shop is curated towards my aesthetic. When I'm picking things that don't really match my shop's vibe, I'm kind of losing that, and I want to have that really strong returning customer base. I've noticed the things that I personally wouldn't wear that much because it's not my aesthetic take a lot longer to sell. Just focus on curating good stuff that fits your niche. I think one other thing that I know I need to change is I have only been sourcing at thrift stores and rag houses. While they are both great avenues of finding vintage, it's just expensive. And so that's what I kind of want to do, start going more to estate sales, garage sales, outlets. I haven't done that because one, it's hard for me to wake up that early to get to estate sales and stuff on time, but I just kind of need to get over that. It's something I need to discipline myself into doing, just waking up early, getting to those estate sales, finding those items, because in the long run it's gonna help me, and I keep not taking those steps to help make my shop more efficient. Once I start pursuing these things, I will definitely increase my profits, and that is something that I really need to do as like a new business. So now we're gonna move into things I wish I knew before I started my shop. One of them is how much like physical labor is involved with this. I feel like I need to start working out, especially my arms, because when you're like digging through thrift stores and having super long days of sourcing, and when you go to outlets, you need to be like digging through these bins, you have some strength, and I don't have that. And I did not realize how labor intensive it was. It's also just like so much driving to get to thrift stores and just sourcing all around. So one other thing I wish I knew before starting was how to sticking to an aesthetic. I did mention that in the what I did wrong part. And so just be very mindful of what you're picking up. Now we're gonna go into my financial side. So let's talk about how much money I made on Depop and my website. My gross profit on Depop was $3,214.78. I paid $457.53 for shipping, $138.03 for PayPal and Depop processing fees, $306.45 for Depop, the 10% fee, and then $149.06 for sales tax, $639.63 for my item cost. Finally, my net profit was $1,524.08. That means about $500 per month. Then let's go into Shopify. For Shopify, I made a total of $231.71 in that same time period. My net profit from Shopify, when I take out all my fees and costs, was $147.79. That's about $50 a month. And then Poshmark, I sold $395 gross profit, and then net profit was $195.14, or $500 a month from Depop, plus $50 from Shopify, so that's $550, plus Poshmark, which is about $70 a month, $620 a month. I only did one flea market in that time period, and that was a total of $196 gross and net $52.94. So that's about $15. 620 plus 15. So total I made about $635 a month. It's not high, but it's not bad for just starting out. Not just starting out, but like really focusing on my shop. I want this to be full-time, and that's definitely not a full-time income, but it's definitely getting somewhere. This is February 1st, and this is like today. And because, you know, it's only been like 10 days into July, this will probably be a little bit higher, but it's definitely on an upward trend, and I do think I can maintain that, especially fall. I have so much fall stuff prepared, and I'm so excited to release it, but you know, still not weather appropriate, so I'm waiting very impatiently for it to happen. I can see that I am growing and my work is having an effect on the growth of my shop. So I think that's pretty encouraging. I think that's it for the financial part of this video. Let's go into my plan for the future. So one of the things I want to focus on now is content curation. I've been doing a lot of like thrift hauls and stuff like that, and I want to focus on doing more informative videos. I think thrift hauls are good, they're fun and people enjoy them, and I noticed that those videos tend to perform better than other ones, but I still want to be like a source of information. I just want to do like more like analysis, more thought-provoking videos, and also just more fun, entertaining videos rather than just thrift hauls. I want to start building more connections in the vintage community, so just reaching out to other vendors at markets and stuff like that, and just making internet friends with people in the vintage community online. I also want to try doing a rent-a-rack situation. I've heard of a place called Rescue where you pay a certain fee and then you pay a commission on top of that per item that sells. So the only thing I need to do is source the item and clean it and then take it to the shop. And so that's a lot less work than me having to like list every detail about the item and taking photos and then like setting up at a market, you know. It's a lot less work involved, so I want to see if it's worth it for me to do that. I also want to focus more on doing handmade upcycle stuff. I just keep forgetting about it as I'm focusing on trying to get new drops out each week. That kind of ends up being on the back burner, but I really want to do it. I've already sourced a lot of really cute placemats and cute things I want to upcycle into bags. I also want to try building an email list, but I kind of don't know how to do that, so I need to do more research. I also want to start listing more items and also focusing on menswear. I've noticed that my menswear tends to do pretty well. I think it's probably because the type of menswear I choose is different than what I've noticed a lot of other menswear vintage sellers do. Most shops tend to focus on Carhartt and vintage tees and like collectible stuff, but that's not the direction I'm taking. And so I think that kind of helps set me apart from other vintage sellers that are selling just men's clothes. It surprisingly sells just as well as women's, maybe even a little bit better. I think there's less competition with menswear. Definitely looking into that. I don't know as much about menswear. Like, I'm not really aware of how the sizing works, like what brands are popular and stuff like that, but that's something I'll learn over time anyways. That is all for today's video. Let me know if you have any questions, if you want me to share more about something specific, about like how I take photos or how I keep track of inventory. I can also do those videos as well. I will see you guys in the next video.